Hello, welcome to video number 15. In this video, we will learn how to use the report wizard to create reports based on our queries, and we'll also learn how to create mailing labels. Here is the stuffed animal database which we have been creating from our video number 13, and in our last video number 14, we created these queries. We will create our reports based on some of these queries, and if you have been following along, you can open your file that you worked on in our last video, which is video number 14. But if you do not have the file, you can download video number 14 finished file from our class website, and then you can follow along. Right here on the navigation pane, we have the tables, and we know that the tables stores the raw data and it is the heart of the database. Tables is one of the access objects. The second object here is the forms. We use our forms to enter raw data, and we also change and edit raw data in the forms. We also created the third object, which is the queries. And queries are questions we ask about the data stored in the database. In this video, we will create the reports, which is the fourth object for the Access database. We will create reports based on the queries, and so reports are a formatted version of the queries. In this video, we will also learn how to create mailing labels. And the steps to create the reports and the mailing labels are in our PDF notes. So here is our PDF notes, and as you can see, reports in Access is the final useful information in formatted form. Reports are based on the queries that we create, and we can also make labels in reports. Here are the steps. I have included all the steps that we will use in creating our reports. So if you can get your PDF notes, you can also follow along as we create our reports. We will create 3 reports and mailing labels from our supplier list and customer list tables. First, we will create the gross profit report, and this is based on the gross profit query. So make sure that you select the gross profit query, and then on our ribbon, click on the Create tab, and then in the Reports group, click the Report Wizard button. And that now opens for us the Report Wizard dialog box. So make sure you have the correct query selected, and if you don't, you can use this arrow and you can select the query that you would like to select from here. So I'm making sure I have the gross profit query selected. And here we have the available fields in our gross profit query. So we would like to move all these fields to the selected fields. So if you're only moving some specific fields from here to the selected fields, you would click the single arrow right there. But since we are moving all these fields, we will click the double arrow right there. And that now moves all the fields to the selected fields box. So then click Next. In this dialog box, we do not need to do any grouping since we don't have any duplicates. And so just click Next. And then in our third Report Wizard dialog box, we are not sorting any of the fields, so we will click Next. And now we're in the fourth Report Wizard dialog box, and we will keep our layout in tabular, and orientation we will keep it as portrait. And also make sure that this box is checked. Adjust the field width so all fields fit on a page. And then we'll click Next. And right here now we need to rename our report. So we are renaming our report Gross Profit. So I will backspace to delete 3. And I'm just having Gross Profit for our report. And now we will leave the option Preview the report checked, and we will click Finish. And our report now opens in a print preview. And if you would like to close the print preview, click the X button right here on our ribbon, close print preview. And then in the report design ribbon tab on the views group, click on the views button and then select layout view. With our report now open in the layout view, we can click on the field names or columns and adjust the column widths. And we can also use the Format ribbon tab to format our report. So we will first adjust our column widths. So to adjust our column widths, with this first column selected, hold down Control and then click on the field name. And then you can adjust that once you see the horizontal black arrow, and carefully drag to the size that you would like. And then I would also like to adjust the width for this column. Click on that, hold down the Control key, click on the entire column, and I will adjust that And then you can adjust yours to the column width that you would like it to be. And also, if I would like to move the entire column, I will select the cost and then hold down the control key, select the entire column, and I can use the right arrow and move that column to the right until I position it to where I want it to be. And now that looks good. The next thing that I would like to do is to format my field names. So I will select on the product description, hold down the control key, and select all these other field names. I would like to bold these, so I will come to my format tab right there, and then on the font group I will click on the bold button, and then I will also change the size to 12. The other thing that I would like to do on my report, I would like to center the quantity sold, the gross per product, and the total gross per product. So I will select that entire column, and then on the font group I will click center, and now that looks good. I will do the same to the gross per product column and center that, and do the same to the total gross per product column, and now that looks good. So with the report, if we were to change our raw data, that will also update on our reports. And so we can see right here on our first record, we have the quantity sold as 5. So we'll go to our forms where we make our changes, and we will change the quantity sold for this first product here. So I will save our report, and then I will close it. So Control S to save, and then close that using the X button right there. And now I will open our products form, double click to open that. And I would like to change the quantity sold for chocolate teddy bear to 10. And I will close our form. And now I will open the gross profit report. So double click to open that. And that opens in the report view right there. And I can see right here the quantity sold for chocolate teddy bear has changed to 10. So we can see right here our reports will also update automatically if we make any changes to the raw data. So I will close that, and I will open our products form, and I will change that back to 5, and I'll close that. And now if I open our report, I can see that now has changed to 5. So I will close this, and I will follow the same steps that we did on creating the gross profit report. And I will create an inventory product reorder list report. So I will use the inventory to reorder query. So making sure that I'm selecting that. And then up here on my ribbon, I will click on the create tab. And then on the reports group, I will click report wizard. And then right here on my first dialog box, I want to select all the fields and move them to the selected fields. And I'm making sure that this is the query that I would like to use for my report. And then I will click the double arrow. And now I have moved all my fields to the selected fields. So I will click next. So right here on this second report wizard dialog box, I would like to group my field by supplier lists. And I can see now this is grouped by supplier list. And this is because we do have duplicates in this query. And so I will click next, and I do not want to do any other grouping level, so I will click next. And I also do not want to sort my records in any order, so I will not do anything in this dialog box. I will click next. And right here we can see we have different layouts. So if I click on block, you can see the preview right there. If I click on outline, you can see the preview right there. So for this one, we will use stepped layout. And also we will change the orientation to landscape, and also making sure that this box is checked, and then I will click next. So we would like to change the name of our report. So I will select that, and I will type inventory product reorder lists. And then I make sure the preview, the report is selected, and then I will click finish. And now again, that has opened for us in the print preview. So we can see our report here in print preview, and I will close that, and I will change the layout. You can change the layout from the report design or from the home tab. Click on the views group and then click view button, and we'll change that to layout view. And now we can see we have our report here in the layout view. So the same thing like we just did with our first report, we'll also adjust our column width in this report. So I'm using the left arrow and I'm moving that column to the left. And then I will move this column 2 to the left. I will adjust the width for this column and move it slightly to the left too. The same thing, I'll make the changes to this column and I will do the same to these other columns. So once I finish adjusting the widths to my column, I can click on the field names, Control key, select all of them. And I would like to bold this, so I will come here on my ribbon on the Format tab. And then on the font group, I will click bold and I will change the font size to 12. I would also like to center the quantity on hand and the quantity sold. And I'll do the same to the inventory reorder. So right here we have our inventory product reorder list. And we can see it is grouped by supplier store name. And again, if we make any changes to our raw data, the same changes will apply to our report here. So I will save this, Control S to save the changes, and I will close this. Our third report is our inventory value report. So making sure that the inventory value query is selected. And then on the Create tab on the ribbon, click on that. And Reports group, click on the Report Wizard button. So we are making sure that the inventory value query is selected. And we will use all the fields. So I will click on the double arrow to move all those fields to the selected fields. And I will click Next. And right here, we are not grouping by any level, so I will click Next. We are not sorting our records, so we will click Next. And we will show our report in tabular, and we'll keep it as portrait, and also making sure that this box here is checked, and then click Next. So we will name our report inventory value. So I will carefully bring my cursor just before the letter I, and then I will backspace to delete the number 05, and then I will click Finish. So now we have our inventory value report, and it opens in the print preview. So we'll close that, and then we will come to the Views group and click on View and click on Layout View. And now right here we see our report in the Layout View, and we can make adjustments to our column widths. So again, I'm clicking on this third column here and hold down Control K and select the entire column. And I will adjust this width once I see the horizontal black arrow. I will also adjust the width for inventory value column. And I will use my left arrow to move it slightly to the left. And the next thing that I would like to do, I would like to center the quantity on hand, quantity sold, inventory, and inventory value. So I'm selecting the quantity on hand column. And then on the Format tab, on the font group, I'm clicking on Center button right there. And I'm centering that. And I'll do the same to these other columns. Center that. The same thing here. I will center that. And I will also center inventory value. The other thing that I would like to do is to bold my field names. So I will select Product ID, hold down the Control key, and then select all these other field names. And then I will bold that, and I will also change the size to 12. And again, I see here my field names are overlapping, so I will adjust the column width. And I'll move this slightly to the right using my right arrow key. And then I'll do the same thing to the inventory column. I'll move that slightly to the right. And now I have adjusted the width to all my column. I have bolded my field names and I have changed the font size. So I will save this, Control S. And again, any changes we make on our raw data, the same changes will apply on our report here. So I will close that. And now the next thing that we will need to do is to create our mailing labels. With the mailing labels, if you were to mail packages to your customers, then you can create the mailing labels in Access and print them out. We will create our mailing labels for our customer list and also suppliers list. So on the navigation pane, make sure that the customer list table is selected, because this is our record source for the labels. And then on your ribbon, click on the Create tab, and then on the Reports group, click on the Labels button, and that opens up the Label Wizard dialog box. In this part here, what label size would you like? Select C2163, and also make sure on the unit of measure, English is selected. And then on the label type, sheet feed should be selected. And then filter by manufacturer, make sure Avery is selected, and then click Next. On the second Label Wizard dialog box, the font name, we're keeping that as Arial. The font size, we'll keep that as 12. The font weight, we will leave that as medium. And then the text color, we'll also keep that as black. And then click Next. On the third Label Wizard dialog box, here we will construct how we would like our label to look like by choosing the fields from the left and using this arrow here to move them to the right. So we can also use the spacebar or a comma if we would like to add that between our field names as we construct the labels. So I will select the first name and then click on that arrow to move it to the prototype label side. And then I'll use the spacebar and then select last name. Use the arrow to move that to this other side, and then I will enter and then select the address, move that to this other side using that arrow, and then again I'll press enter and I will select city, use that arrow to move it to this other prototype label side, and then I'll put a comma and space between the city and the state, and then I will select state, use that arrow to move this to this other side, and then space, zip code, move that to this other side. So here we have constructed how we would like our label to look like, and now we can click Next. So in this fourth Label Wizard dialog box, we can sort our labels by first name. So we'll select the first name and then click on the single arrow to move the first name field from the available lists to the sort by list, and then we will click Next. And then right here, we will change the name of this, and we will name this customer list mailing labels. And then on this other question here, what do you want to do? See the labels as they will look like printed. That's what we want. So we're making sure that is selected, and then we'll click Finish. And now right here, we can see how our labels will look like. And we can see this here is in print preview. So if you were to print your labels and use that for mailing your packages or your letters, this is what you would print out, and then you will place this in your envelopes or in your packages. So I will close the print preview, and that opens in the design view. So if I would like to change the view, again in the report design, the views group, click on the view button, and I can change to either layout view, and this is how it looks like in layout view. And if you want to see in a different layout, again, I can click on the report layout design and then click view button and change that to report view. So I will close that, and we will repeat the same steps and create mailing labels for the supplier list. So make sure that the supplier list table is selected, and then click on the create tab, and then on the reports group, click on the labels button. Again, I'm making sure that C2163 is selected, and unit of measure is English, label type, sheet feed, filter by manufacturer, Avery, and then I'll click Next. So I'm keeping the same text appearance here, and I will click Next. So right here on this Label Wizard dialog box, I would like to choose the supplier store name, click that arrow, and then press enter. Get the address, click on that arrow, press enter, and then the city, click on that arrow, comma, and then space, and then the state, click on that arrow, and then space, and then the zip is already selected, so I will click on the arrow to bring that to this other side. And now I have finished constructing my mailing label, and so I will click Next. So right here, I would like to sort by supplier store name. So I will select that and click on that arrow to bring this field to the sort by side. And then I will click next. And I would like to rename this, and I will name this supplier list mailing label. So this is the name of our report, supplier list mailing labels. And I would like to see the labels as they will look printed. So I will click finish. And now I can see the supplier list mailing labels right here. And I can also see that they are sorted by supplier store name. So again, if you would like to change the view, you can close print preview right there. And you can choose any view that you would like from here. So I will choose report view. And now we can see our mailing labels in the report view. So again, any changes you make to your raw data, if you were to change the address for any of your suppliers or the address of any of your customers, that will also update on your mailing list labels. So I will close this. And with that, we have come to the end of this video where we have learned to create mailing labels and also use the report wizard to create reports based on our queries. We do have one more video where we will learn how to export our Access data to Excel and also text files. And so I will see you in our next video. Thank you.